There are so many things in my life that I need to do better. And I just made a huge discovery that I've been talking about, but didn't really connect it until recently. I thought it was laziness. I thought it was just almost a feeling of doom, like I'm always going to make these same mistakes. And then I realized there's one factor behind all of it. I want to share that with you and share with you what helps me to move forward and start overcoming some of these long time problems. I'm Zach. This is The Average Christian. Once again, a project about what it means to have a relationship with God and how to live that out in practical everyday life. So one of the things that has kept me from living out some of these aspects in practical terms every day and just feeling like I was stuck in the mud, maybe I'm just too lazy. I don't know what it is, why I keep making the same mistakes or why I keep myself held back. And I realized it was fear. It was fear of consequences. It was fear of failure. It was fear of what if, all of these things. And I think, let me try and remember the quote recently from a guy that goes to church with us that says, fear says, what if, and faith says, even if. And I love that. I've heard it used already in another video from Tim Haywood, but fear says, what if, and that's been me. Faith says, even if. And so it doesn't matter about all these other things, but I was creating these scenarios in my head and just stopping me from doing certain things. They've been holding me back for years. Then I know this passage from 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 7, where Paul is trying to encourage this, as he would call him, this son in the faith, because he's going to die soon. And he's trying to get him. He knows about the faith that he's gotten from his mom and from his grandmother and all the gifts that he's been given. And he uses this passage, or uses this phrase in verse 7, for God gave us a spirit not of fear. See, we haven't even been given a spirit of fear. I'm going to use one other passage with this. God gave us not a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and self-control. I have been empowered by God. He has given me gifts. He's blessed me. He has promised to help me, to guide and guard and direct my steps and all these things. And I've been given the power of love, the spirit of self-control. When I realize that, it doesn't matter what happens. Even the worst could happen, and it's okay. It's more than okay. It's great, because I remember being torn up about a decision long ago, and it was about leaving full-time ministry. And I was just so torn, and I loved the place where I was, and I loved those people at Rocky Creek in South Mississippi, but I just knew my heart wasn't in it anymore. And so it was actually the former preacher from years ago that had been at the congregation who came to do a meeting, and we were sitting down talking, and I was just agonizing about this decision. Should I stay? Should I get out of this? And finally, he said something that just stopped me in my tracks and said, well, brother, don't you believe that even if you make the wrong decision, God's going to bless you? That's a powerful question, one that helped me to realize that I needed to make a decision and trust God. Now, if you take that and you go on to Romans chapter 8 and verse 15, and you see that we've been given this same spirit once again, he just mentions it in a different way. You did not receive the spirit of slavery to fall back into fear. See, fear is a mentality of a slave. I'm not a slave to sin anymore. I am a willing slave and a willing servant of the Lord who gives me hope. This relationship is built on hope, not on fear. But you have received the spirit of adoption as sons, meaning I belong to God, by whom we cry, Abba, Father. That familiarity. The Spirit himself bears witness with our spirit that we are children of God, and if children, then heirs, heirs of God, fellow heirs with Christ, which he's telling you my future. He's telling you your future. We are going to be with Jesus. We're going to receive the rewards that Jesus has, and all of that's taken care of. So what do I really have to fear in life? Provided now that we suffer with him in order that we may be glorified with him later on. I want this to at least get you to think about what kind of fears are holding you back and keeping you from being who you can, from reaching out and doing something different, from making some crazy decision because you're afraid of stepping out. You're afraid of leaping into that faith, if you will. I hate to use it like that, but you understand what I'm talking about. You're afraid of what if, instead of using a faithful saying, even if. And I hope this will help you to overcome your fear. Thank you for being here with us. If you're on YouTube and you haven't subscribed already, please hit that button and keep up with future releases. If you want to see what was released last time, it's in this corner. If you want to see what YouTube recommends, it's over here. To our podcast viewers, thank you so much for being with us. Please subscribe, rate, and review. It helps get the word out, and we want you to share this content with other people.